My daughter Erin, now a college student, has been living on her own for about a year. Despite receiving a reasonable monthly allowance and supposedly working hard at a part-time job, Erin came home looking thin and worn out. Are you overworking yourself? Are you eating enough? I'm eating fine, stuff like cereal, Erin replied. I urged for more, but Erin fell silent. Confirming my uneasy intuition, Erin thanked me. Thank you for the $13 a month, Mom. I couldn't believe my ears. $13? I've been transferring $1,300 every month. My name is Laura. People have always said that I have a poor judgment when it comes to men. My first boyfriend was when I was in college. I dated a man 2 years my senior, but within 3 months of our relationship, I discovered his infidelity. After that, I dated a younger guy, but before I knew it, he had become a freeloader. Probably because I had been paying for everything since he was younger. Then, the man who I thought would be different, the one I married after dating for 4 years, turned out to be both a money waster and cheater. After my divorce from him, I raised Erin as a single mom for 10 years. Erin, who I thought was still young and naive, had grown up to be a reliable daughter who takes the initiative in household chores. Despite me telling her that she doesn't have to push herself so hard, she wouldn't listen, saying, "You're working hard for us, Mom. And you'll collapse if you overdo it, Mom." Erin also never slacked off in her studies. "I want to work hard just like you, Mom. I don't want to burden you," she said, studying her entrance exams to public universities from the moment she entered high school. She may be a bit naive at times, but I believe she's a wonderful daughter. Erin, who studied hard, finally got accepted into a prestigious public university. When we went together to see the acceptance list, we found Erin's applicant number on the bulletin board and we joyfully held hands. The time flew by before she started college. Taking some vacation time, we went on a celebratory hot spring trip, which was truly delightful. While soaking up to my shoulders in the warm water, I found my daughter, her cheeks flushed, saying, "Mom, this is so wonderful." Incredibly endearing. I vowed in my heart that I would protect her no matter what. Then, with the entrance to college, Erin left the nest. With a sense of pride in how well she'd grown up and a touch of loneliness, I saw her off on her journey. Since Erin started living alone, it's become our daily routine to call each other before bedtime. Erin has always been good at house chores and generally more reliable than her peers. I wasn't particularly worried about her living on her own, but the thought of a young woman living alone still left a trace of unease. I wondered if I was being overly protective, but Erin's cheerful conversations every evening brought me relief. Those post-work calls became my moment of relaxation. Erin would talk about all sorts of things. Her college classes, her new friends, the music club she had joined with her friends, and the slightly interesting upperclassmen she met there. Erin's everyday life seemed fulfilling and joyful, which made me happy. Towards the end of the semester, Erin told me with a tense voice, "You know what?" As it turned out, it was the joyful news of, "I recently got a boyfriend." The boy in question was Ian, the slightly interesting senior she met at the club. I replied, "That's great, congratulations," while I felt a slight concern deep down. After all, my daughter, the child of the woman who had been repeatedly told that she had no eye for men, got her first boyfriend. I was worried if my lack of luck with men had been passed down to her. "One day I'd like to introduce him to you. Can I bring him over?" Erin asked, perhaps sensing my anxiety. I put on a cheerful voice and replied, "Of course." When the summer vacation started, Erin came home and brought Ian along. Upon meeting him, I found that Ian was a clean-cut, fine young man. "Nice to meet you. I'm Ian. I'm dating your daughter." Ian greeted me crisply and shook my hand as soon as I answered the door. It seemed he was a responsible young man. I felt relieved that my worry was unfounded. Ian had no tattoos or piercings, but had a sophisticated aura about him. His cuff sleeves gave him a sensual appeal. It reminded me of my youth when I was attracted to such people. I felt a strange sense of nostalgia. We then had iced tea together, and I found that Ian was not only responsible, but also very thoughtful. He offered to carry the iced tea that I had made and subtly refilled my empty cup when it ran out. Well, Ian is quite a decent guy. Taking advantage of Ian leaving the table for a moment, I whispered quietly to Erin, "What was all that about, Mom? Were you worried?" Erin chuckled a bit shyly. "Of course, dear. After all, my daughter is in love." "Oh, I told you, I'm fine, Mom. I have better luck than you." Laughing along, I agreed. That's true. Soon the second semester started. Erin, not wanting to burden me, began working multiple jobs to support herself. I had been sending her money every month for emergencies, but she seemed to be saving it all, wanting to save for the future. Apparently trusted by her employers, Erin was always busy with school and work, and lately didn't have much time for her club activities. Are you sure you're okay? Don't overdo it and use the money I send. Do you want me to come and help with chores? When I asked worriedly, Erin answered with a faint voice, I'm fine. Ever since I haven't been able to go to the club, Ian has been coming over a lot because he's worried. You have your own worries, right? I can handle things myself. Really, I'm fine. Is that so? Well, if you're sure. Even the other day when I got back from work, Ian had made a surprise hamburger. It was really delicious. I have Ian, so I'm okay. Her bright voice gave away how much she really liked Ian. Before long, Erin ended the call saying, I have an early class tomorrow, so I'm going to hang up. Even though I was still worried, I reminded myself that Erin has Ian. She kept calling to update me on her situation, but as she got busier, the frequency of her calls gradually decreased. From the occasional conversation, it seemed that she was leading a busy life with working classes. However, I was concerned that she didn't seem to be living well. On the days Ian visited, he made sure she ate properly, but on other days I heard she was mostly eating cereal. It was clear that she was struggling. But I've been sending her more than enough money, and I don't think Erin is the type to be wasteful. When I told my mother about it, she dismissed my concern, saying, You're worrying too much about your grown daughter. You can't let go of your child. Perhaps I was worrying too much. Erin will be 19 soon. To me, she's still a child, but in the eyes of the world, she's already an adult. And she has the dependable Ian by her side. Until she really struggles and cries for help, maybe I should just let things be, I thought, trying to calm my restless heart. In the midst of it all, winter break had arrived. Erin, who had returned home again, was visibly thinner. She was always a slender girl, but her cheeks had sunken, and her torso was clearly thinner. Dark circles were under her eyes. She told me that she had been working late the previous night and had come home straight after. Erin, aren't you pushing yourself too hard lately? Are you eating properly? I asked. I'm eating properly, cereal and stuff. And stuff? Erin fell silent. To my stunned silence, she quickly covered up by saying, But I've become good at cereal. Her earnest smile instead looked painfully strained. Could it be that she isn't eating properly? I've been sending her allowance and she has been working hard, so why? Feeling puzzled, I felt an unpleasant premonition creeping up. As if to confirm my suspicions, Erin said, Thanks for the $13 every month, Mom. 13. I send you $1,300 every month. And now it was Erin's turn to be shocked. An ominous feeling was growing inside me. Erin, where do you keep your checkbook and debit card? In my desk drawer at home. Erin, I'm going to your place now. There's something I want to check. Erin was taken back by my sudden words, but she nodded obediently. On the train to Erin's apartment, we talked about various things. The first topic was, why did you think the allowance was only $13? Erin had living expenses account, where she deposited her part-time job money, and a savings account where I deposited her allowance. She had to spend a lot of money on textbooks and such at the start of the new semester. When she recently checked her savings account, the balance was $78. Erin felt that the account balance was low, but she had not touched the account for the past 6 months. Erin knew I was sending her money every month, but she never asked for the exact amount. She assumed that the $78 in her account was the total of my financial support for the past 6 months. That comes to about $13 a month. Didn't you think that was low? I asked. I thought it was, but I figured you were struggling too, Mom. Honestly, you're such a silly girl. How much money do you think I earn? Don't underestimate me. At my semi-joking remark, Erin seemed to finally relax a bit, but her face clouded over again almost immediately. No wonder. If Erin hadn't touched any of the money I sent her, it meant that someone was draining her bank account, and the most suspicious person was Ian, who was frequently at her apartment. Erin seemed to be in denial. I didn't want to believe it either, that this seemingly nice young man, Erin's boyfriend, would steal money. I anxiously waited for the train to arrive at the nearest station. Upon arriving at Erin's home, we grabbed her checkbook and headed straight to the ATM at the bank. The bank would close in the evening, and it was already late in the afternoon. We were cutting it close. We slid the checkbook into the ATM and waited for it to be updated. When we saw the balance printed on the checkbook, we were both shocked. The money, a consistent $1,300, had indeed been deposited into her account every month. However, there was evidence of frequent withdrawals. Erin turned pale and muttered softly, Why? Seeing her on the verge of collapsing, I took her to a nearby coffee shop where I decided to probe deeper into the matter. Primarily, I wanted to know about her management of the checkbook. Erin kept her checkbook and debit card in a locked drawer in her desk. However, the key was kept in another drawer, so anyone who entered the apartment could potentially unlock it. The only person who could be rummaging through her room when she's not around was her boyfriend, Ian, who had a spare key. Moreover, the pin for the debit card was the same as the one she usually used for her other cards. Someone must have peeked when she was withdrawing money. I admit it was careless of me as well when I set up the account. I'm sorry, honey. Mom should have been more thoughtful too. I never imagined someone else would use the money. It's not your fault, Mom. I should have been more vigilant about managing it. While both of us were hanging our heads, I added, but the person who is most to blame is the one who spent other people's money without permission. Yeah, you're right. Erin's response was devoid of energy. That was understandable. She had been betrayed in such a way by the person she most likely trusted the most. Seeing my daughter so dispirited, my heart ached. I'll take care of this, I found myself saying. What? You may not want to make a big deal out of this, but it is a serious crime. We should gather solid evidence and take it to the police. The police? Erin's voice trembled, clearly disturbed. Yes, it's that serious, but don't worry, I'll handle the rest. It's all to ensure that you can have a peaceful college life, okay? Erin nodded hesitantly. A few days later, I visited a private detective agency that had helped me out when my husband was suspected of cheating. I need you to investigate my daughter's boyfriend. His name is Ian Mack. He's a sophomore in economics at the same university as my daughter. We suspect that he might have been using the money I sent to my daughter without permission. I explained, showing a picture of Ian that Erin had sent me on my phone. They agreed to take on the case without hesitation. Their fees were hefty, but it was all to clear up this matter for Erin's sake. While we waited for the investigation, Erin decided to commute to college from my house due to her anxiety. The one-way commute took over an hour, which was tough for Erin, but she physically relaxed every time I came home. One evening, she made granola for dinner. Just as you said, you've become good at making cereal. Seeing the confident wink Erin gave me, I felt a pang of heartache, knowing that she must have been eating this almost daily. A month later, the result of the investigation came in. There was no doubt that Ian had been withdrawing money from Erin's account. According to the investigator, soon after Ian started dating Erin, his friends testified that his lifestyle suddenly improved. What surprised me more was that Ian's crimes didn't end there. Apparently, Ian was in relationships with several other women. Stunned, I was handed a few photographs. Photos of Ian with his arm around a woman. Photos of him dining happily at a restaurant. Pictures of them looking into an arcade together. Photos of them strolling through the hotel district. In every photo, the same man with a distinctive beauty mark was seen with a different woman. A characteristic teardrop on a man's face. There was no mistake, it was Ian. It appears that Ian has been using the money you've been sending to your daughter, not just to impress his friends, but also to maintain relationships with several girlfriends. The investigator told me, looking quite grim. Thank you, I said, bowing my head deeply. Now it was time to strike back. First, I filed a complaint with the police. Then, I sent a written explanation of what Ian had done to his parents, the university he attended, and all of his girlfriends. At first, Ian denied everything, but finally admitted to his wrongdoing when confronted by multiple girlfriends. Naturally, all of the girlfriends, including Erin, cut ties with Ian. Subsequently, due to the police case, Ian was expelled from the university and brought back to his parents' home. Fortunately, his parents were reasonable people and came to my house with a humble gift to apologize. For the time being, his parents agreed to reimburse the stolen money. I'll make our stupid son repay this, even if it kills him. Ian's father swore, even going so far as to almost cry. According to what Erin heard through the grapevine, Ian is now working multiple jobs to continue repaying his parents. By the time this incident settled, it was the beginning of spring. Just as Erin's spring break started, we decided to celebrate the end of this unfortunate relationship with our first trip to a hot spring resort in over a year. Erin had managed to get her life back on track since then, and her complexion and physique were returning to a healthy state. We soaked in the warm bath, ate plenty of delicious food from the inn, and watched TV. I felt like we were finally able to enjoy some peace for the first time in a while. Mom? Just before falling asleep, Erin spoke up within the covers. What's up? Remember how you and Dad divorced because of Dad's reckless spending and affairs, right? Hearing Erin's words, I was taken aback. My ex-husband, just like Ian, was a man who spent money lavishly in order to maintain a good face around others. Unable to cover the living expenses due to his spending and, moreover, having affairs, I slammed the divorce papers at my ex-husband. We ended up choosing similar kinds of men, didn't we? Erin gave a slightly sad smile. That's true. We need to be careful from now on. Feeling a little jittery, she responded with an intentionally cheerful tone. Speaking of which, you seem to have been looking happier lately. Did you get a boyfriend? No way, it's not a boyfriend. Could he possibly become a boyfriend? Recently, due to the incident, I've been getting along with the investigator, but I hadn't told Erin about it yet. Even so, did she sense something? Or was it just because we were mother and daughter who had lived together for so long? Wait a minute, are you sure it's going to be alright this time, Mom? Erin teased me with a chuckle. Well, it should be okay, right? Unlike your father, he seems to be a serious and reliable person. Come on, be serious. If it's after me, it's your turn, Mom, and that's not going to be a laughing matter. I'll be careful. After responding in a serious tone, Erin and I couldn't help but look at each other and laugh.